Dobar dan svima, poštovani rektore, poštovani prorektori, poštovani pročelnici, poštovane studentice i studenti. Sve vas srdačno pozdravljam u dvorani Blaženog Alojzija kardinala Stepinca, kao i sve oni koji će nakon ovog našeg predavanja gledati ovu snimku na YouTube kanalu. Kao što već znate, 2023. 2024. akademske godine mi smo započeli s nizom predavanja veleposlanika koji su akreditirani u Republici Hrvatskoj i naš današnji gost dolazi iz Malezije, njegova ekscelencija gospodin Kennedyja. Welcome to the university. S njime je njegov savjetnik, gospodin Johan. You are also very most welcome. Naš današnji gost, njegova ekscelencija, gospodin Kennedyja, je veleposlanik Malezije u Hrvatskoj od 15. lipnja 2021. godine. On je 6. veleposlanik Malezije u Republici Hrvatskoj. Kratko ću vam samo reći nekoliko riječi iz životopisa veleposlanika. U Ministarstvu vanjskih poslova Malezije gospodin veleposlanik radi 26,5 godina već na raznim pozicijama i u različitim zemljama. Prije dolaska u Republiku Hrvatsku u Ministarstvu vanjskih poslova Malezije obnašao je dužnost podtajnika na odsjeku za multilateralnu sigurnost odjela za poslove, zatim dužnost podtajnika odsjeka za Južnu i Središnju Aziju i bio je glavni pomoćnik tajnika multilateralnog ekonomskog odsjeka. Tijekom svoje karijere služio kao zamjenik stalnog predsjednika stalne misije Malezije pri Ujedinjenim narodima, ministar stalne misije Malezije pri Ujedinjenim narodima, zatim ministar savjetnik veleposlanstva Malezije u Hanoju u Vijetnamu, prvi tajnik veleposlanstva Malezije u Helsinkiju u Finskoj i drugi tajnik veleposlanstva Malezije u Phnom Penhu u Kambodži. Pohađao je tehnološko sveučilište u Maleziji, stekao je zvanje prvostupnika korporativnog upravljanja i završio je diplomski studij javne uprave, oženjen je i otac jednog djeteta. Voli putovati i igrati badminton. U ime Hrvatskog katoličkog sveučilišta obratit će nam se rektor profesor dr. Željko Tanjić, a potom će gospodin Johan, savjetnik u veleposlanstvu, napraviti jedan uvod, nakon čega slijedi govor njegove ekscelencije gospodina Kennedyja. On behalf of Catholic University of Croatia, Rector Professor Tanjić will address you. After his speech, there will be an introduction by Mr. Johan and followed by his speech of His Excellency Mr. Kennedyja. Rektore, izvolite.
Poštovani svi ovdje u dvorani i oni koji nas pratite preko YouTube-a, Your Excellency, Mr. Ambassador Kennedyja, Mr. Johan, all members and staff from the Embassy of Malaysia to the Republic of Croatia, welcome to the Catholic University of Croatia on this occasion. I'm so sorry that we are not so many in this room, but I said maybe we set a wrong date because we forgot that these days are the last days of lectures, lessons, and students have already exams, and for them that is more important than everything. Even if the Holy Father would come here in these days, he wouldn't have such a big crowd next to him. But I'm so proud and happy, Mr. Ambassador, that you're here today with us. I would call that a little bit as a providence, if you allowed me to say that, because we met here for the first time 2 months ago, and you really did a great visit to us with the representatives of Malaysian University, and it was surprising for me in a positive way that you came together with the representative of the university, so that was a sign that for you is very important to establish relations in Croatia, among Malaysia and Croatia, among universities in Croatia. And I was struck when we were talking, why would such a big university in Malaysia choose such a small university in Croatia, as you say, for maybe a future collaboration? And then the vice rector, she said, because we saw that there is a Catholic university, there are certain values here, and we share these values in Malaysia too. And for me, it was very interesting to see that we were like from different branches of science of an embassy, but also there was already a sign of this peaceful and great state of Malaysia, because there were representatives in all these fields of different religions. So this is also, I would say, something which is a good example for us. It's also challenging to us. So, and then we decided that we would like to present Malaysia, heritage, culture, economical situation, religious situation, to know each other a little bit better. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your efforts coming with us. As I said, even though maybe not here, but I'm sure that on YouTube, our film and our event is going to find a broader audience. And I would say this is a first step, actually second step, I hope in a future collaboration, because we were just before this meeting talking about future steps in the collaboration. So once again, Mr. Ambassador, thank you for coming. Our doors of our universities are always open to you. I'm looking forward for the future collaboration, but I'm looking also forward for your lecture. Thank you once again, and welcome to the Catholic University. Thank you.
Very good morning, Dobar Dan. Or in Malaysia, we say Salam Sejahtera, or in other words, it could be also peace be upon you. So I'm Johan Ikram, Counselor of the Embassy of Malaysia. I arrived here in Croatia for my second posting last August. It's been almost 6 months, and it's been an exciting experience and stay for me so far, and I hope it will continue. Thank you, Ambassador. First of all, I would like to thank the university on behalf of the Embassy, Excellency Rector, member, staff member and students of the Catholic University of Croatia. I would also like to thank His Excellency Ambassador for giving me the opportunity. We thought that it will be a good idea to give a short presentation about Malaysia. We are sure you've heard about Malaysia, or we hope that you have heard about Malaysia. So we thought a short presentation about Malaysia will set a good background of ambassador's sharing session afterwards. So we have we have set the topic of our presentation as Malaysia Truly Asia, Malaysia at the global front. So as I go quickly into the presentation, we'll explain what does Malaysia Truly Asia means. Okay, where is Malaysia? As you're all aware, Malaysia is located in the Southeast Asia, at this area here, above Australia. So this is Malaysia close up, with Malaysia is divided into two parts, in the middle is the South China Sea. You've heard about South China Sea, and this is called Peninsular Malaysia or West Malaysia, and the Borneo part, which is the east of Malaysia, and this is the capital city of Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. Okay, a short overview about Malaysia. Malaysia, we achieved our independence from the British on 31st August 1957, and eventually, but that was only the Federation of Malaya, the West Malaysia, and on 16 September 1963, a few years later, Sabah and Sarawak and Singapore joined Malaysia to form the whole of Malaysia, and eventually 2 years later, Singapore left Malaysia to form its own nation. So currently, Malaysia, we have 13 states and 3 federal territories. As you can see in the West Malaysia, 11 states and 2 federal territories, as well as the East Malaysia, 2 biggest states, Sabah and Sarawak. The capital cities of Malaysia is Kuala Lumpur, the official capital and the business capital. And since 2001, the government formed a new administrative capital in Putrajaya. So the total area of Malaysia is around 330 square meters. We are located in Malay archipelago, surrounded by oceans and islands, similar to Croatia. So we have around 878 islands, and the highest mound that we have is Mount Kinabalu, which is located in Sabah, is around 4,000 meters high. Malaysia has a population of around 34 million people. Why Malaysia is unique is because Malaysia is like a melting pot. Malaysia is home to the major ethnicities of Asia. As you can see, the ethnic groups in Malaysia, we have the Malays and indigenous people around 60%, the Chinese 20%, Indian 6%, and others and foreigners. The languages in Malaysia, we have the official language, the Malay language, Bahasa Malaysia. English also is widely spoken, Chinese languages, Indian languages, as well as indigenous languages. The religions in Malaysia, Muslim form the majority, 61%, Buddhist, 90%, Christian, Hindu, traditional Chinese religion. And if you can notice, the religion, the faith, and the ethnic groups are correlate with one another, because Malay as the majority, they hold the Muslim faith, as well as Chinese, Indian faith, Indian Hindu faith, and Christians usually from the Chinese and Indian, as well as the indigenous people. So this is our capital city, Kuala Lumpur. You have not seen it. It's a mixture of urban as well as rural. Very stark development over the years. This is our iconic Twin Towers. And this is the administrative capital, which is not too far from Kuala Lumpur, around 40 minutes drive in Putrajaya. It's a man-made lake and everything. So that's the Prime Minister's office, the Prime Mosque and all that. So these are the Malaysian people. We are very diverse, as you can see, a mixture of all ethnicity groups. So these are the Malays, like I'm a Malay. So Malay with their traditional costume, Malay family, Chinese family, Indian family, as well as the indigenous people from Sabah and Sarawak. So it's very unique, and it forms a very multicultural environment, so that our tolerance and moderation are very good in the country to learn about one another and to peacefully live with one another. Okay, a quick one on our government and politics. Malaysia practices parliamentary democracy with constitutional monarchy. It's a bit unique. So the separation of powers into three parts. The parliament comprised of Senate and House of Representatives. Our last election was in 2020. So our head of state is the Yang di-Pertuan Agong, as we call it. He's the King of Malaysia. He's elected. What is unique is that the King of Malaysia is elected for a 5-year term on a rotational basis among the 9 hereditary rulers. So in Malaysia, we have 9 different sultans representing each state, and because these sultans hold the same sovereignty standing, so the country decided to have a rotational king every 5 years since our independence. So currently, the king, or Yang di-Pertuan Agong, is the 16th one, is the Sultan Abdullah of the Pahang state. Our head of government, elected through general election, a parliamentary election, is a prime minister. Current prime minister is Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim. The prime minister, of course, should be an MP elected in general election and appointed endorsed by the King of Malaysia, following majority confidence in parliament. Our governance, as you can see, we have the federal government as well as state governments. Federal government, prime minister and his cabinet. State governments, we have chief ministers and state executive councillors. So this is our king, current king, Yang di-Pertuan Agong, and the queen, Sultan Abdullah. But actually his term is ending this month, and the Conference of Rulers has already elected the new Sultan of Johor State to be the new king, 17 Agong, for the next 5 years. And this is our new national palace in Kuala Lumpur. So these are our Conference of Rulers. This is the latest meeting when they elected the new Yang di-Pertuan Agong. So the Sultan here, the Sultan of Johor, he will be our new king for the next 5 years. And basically, what is unique about the Malay rulers, they form they are the monarchies of the Malay kingdoms around 4-5 centuries ago, before Malaysia even together as one state. So basically, once when British came and they made a deal with the Malay rulers and they formed the Malayan state, so they decided to unite all these kingdoms under one nation, with them having their own sovereign power, so to speak. This is our Prime Minister and the Prime Minister's office in Putrajaya and his cabinet. Okay, a quick one on Malaysia's economy. Malaysia, we considered ourselves as an upper middle income, open industrialized market economy, similar to Croatia. Our GDP is around 400 billion, with 54% from the service sector, 38% industrial sector, 8% agriculture sector. We are the 4th largest economy in Southeast Asia and the 36th largest economy in the world. We have a labor force of around 15 million people, the 34th largest in the world. We have a balanced population size. We are slowly entering into the aging population, but our youth population is still relatively okay. Our currency is in the Malaysian ringgit. Malaysia's global trade in 2022, our top trading partners being in our part of the world is of course China, Singapore, US, EU, as well as Japan. Our major exports are in the semiconductors, electrical products, petroleum. Malaysia is a petroleum country. Chemical products, we also have palm oil as our main commodity. Top productions of our country will be commodity and agriculture, palm oil, rubber, cocoa, hardwoods, pepper and tin. Palm oil is particularly important because we are the second largest palm oil producer globally, and we supply around 1/3 of world's palm oil. Malaysia's tourism, according to the World Tourism Organization, we are the 4th most visited country in Asia and 14th most visited country in the world. Pre-pandemic, we received around 26 million tourists. Post-pandemic, the number is recovering and increasing. But I guess Malaysia can learn a lot from Croatia in terms of tourism, because definitely tourism is a major thing here. So that is one area that we really look forward to collaborate with. Malaysia have a few major companies, national companies such as Petronas, our national oil company, similar to INA, oil, gas and petrochemicals. We have car companies as well, Proton and Produa. And we have our own national carrier as well as a private airline, which is Malaysia Airlines, as well as Air Asia. Air Asia is similar to, for example, Ryanair in Europe. So this is our Petronas, the national oil company in Malaysia. They are one of the main sponsors of the Mercedes-Benz F1 team. So it's a really big brand out there. And they have been the driving force behind a lot of technological advancement in Malaysia. This is our car company, Proton. These are some of the models that they produce. This side is Proton and that side is Produa. Produa is like a smaller scale, like a smaller cars. Proton, they produce SUVs, family cars, sedan and all that. And they are widely used or bought by Malaysians, and we try to also export our cars to nearby countries. If I'm not mistaken, maybe 20 years ago, we did export some Proton in Croatia. If you are lucky, you can see some old models of Proton in Croatia. These are our national carrier, Malaysia Airlines, Air Asia. Of course, we are known for Malaysia Airlines due to the tragedy that happened, unfortunately, MH370, as well as MH17. But overall, our carriers are doing good, so we're happy with that. On the aspect of Malaysia at the global front, Malaysia we consider ourselves as a small country. Like what Excellency Rector mentioned, Malaysia has a population of 34 million. It's a bit funny to call us as a small country, but the fact that we are surrounded by big populated countries in Asia with China, India, even in Southeast Asia, we are surrounded by Indonesia, 300 million, Thailand, Philippines, 100 million. So we see ourselves as a small country. But we practice very active diplomacy, both regionally and internationally. So we have always had a foreign policy since our independence as a friendly and trading nation. We try to trade with everybody. We pursue independent, principled, and pragmatic foreign policy. We espouse the values of peace, humanity, justice, and equality. These are also the values that we practice domestically that we would like to also share it with the world. We practice non-aligned policy and approach in relations with major powers. We don't take sides. We try to cooperate with all like-minded countries on all international issues. Currently, and this can be seen from Malaysia's diplomatic presence around the world, we can say we have 110 diplomatic missions around the world. Not many countries, even though big countries, have that many missions. This was especially active during, I don't know whether you've heard Prime Minister Mahathir's time in the 90s, where we were really out there trying to establish diplomatic relations with everybody. We are very active multilaterally. Currently, the cornerstone of our foreign policy is the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN, which is similar to the European Union. It was established in 1967, comprised of 10 member states of Southeast Asia. We are also an active member of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, OIC, Non-Aligned Movement, Commonwealth, of course, United Nations. Malaysia, we have been the non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council for 4 times throughout its establishment. So we have been trying to play a major role, an active and important role in peace and security of the world as we can. We send our armed forces as well as police to participate in peacekeeping missions around the world, as you can see, and with the deployment of nearly 40,000 peacekeepers. I believe Croatia also played a very active role in the UN peacekeeping as well as other UN roles. So as you can see, this is during our presidency of the non-permanent membership in New York with our former foreign minister. This is our armed forces as the peacekeepers in Lebanon. So Malaysia Truly Asia is due to our multicultural, multi-faith, multi-ethnicities in nature of our country. We are happy to call ourselves representing Asia in general. So if you get to know Malaysia, it's like you already get to know the whole of Asia, because we are there, we are representing many things of Asia, and this is the slogan that we have chosen for our tourism. And I would just like to wrap up my presentation before I pass to His Excellency Ambassador with some photos of Malaysia. If you can see, this is the Malaysian cuisine. You should definitely try. It's we have influence of the Malay cuisine, Chinese, Indian, with localized tastes, and our food, our cuisine have been ranked by global food critique or food survey as quite high in rank. Like for example, roti canai there, I think last year it was branded as the best bread in the world. And our curry puff, for example, the one that we actually brought some pastry here, the curry puff by Food Atlas, it's the 4th best pastry in the world. It's even higher than the pastry, the similar pastry from France, for example. So it's really a wonder of Malaysian cuisine. We have a lot of tropical fruits where you can only find at that part of the world. Durian, it's a very interesting fruit for you to try if you have the opportunity. Like Croatia, we are also blessed with beauty in nature. Our tropical islands, clear crystal sea. So these are our islands. And these are our heritage that we have. Malaysia were under a few powers back then, beginning with Portuguese, the Dutch, and followed by the British. So Malaysia have a lot of influence from them throughout the years. They have been in Malaysia in our area for hundreds of years. So this is in the Malacca. It's a UNESCO heritage site. It's a Portuguese architecture. There's our Mount Kinabalu. This is our sky bridge in the Langkawi Island. This is the famous A Famosa resort of the Portuguese. And we have also a very unique architecture and buildings. This is a monastery, Chinese Buddhist monastery in Penang. So these are another natural that we have. We have a unique and one of the biggest underground caves in the world, the biggest flower in the world, Rafflesia. We have orangutan in Borneo. We have tape, our version of panda, and these are the landscape that we have. So that's all that I have to share with this short sharing. I hope it will open your interest to know more about Malaysia and Asia. And I would pass over to Ambassador to have more sharing with you on Malaysia, on bilateral relations, Malaysia-Croatia, or anything in general. Please, Ambassador. Thank you.
So, good morning, Dobar dan, everybody. So, because time is limited, I'll just keep it very brief. I'd like to thank Excellency Rector and the University for inviting us here today. We had the engagement 2 months ago, as Rector mentioned, from our University of Science Malaysia. And a month ago also, we had our University of National University. These are two of our major public universities. During my time, there were only 8. Now we have at least 20 public universities. And we have, I think, more than 600 private universities in Malaysia. So there's a lot of things happening, especially cooperation between in the higher education between Malaysia and Croatia. So we discussed with our national university the possibility of them coming again this year. And we encourage exchange of lecturers, exchange of students. We want to establish contacts, friendly relations between Malaysia and Croatia. So these are some of the few steps that we can do, possible steps. I'll take this opportunity during my short term here, at least for the first 2 years. We established a parliamentary friendship group, the first one. We also, because I like to congratulate Croatia for doing well in the World Cup. There are already 6 teams from Malaysia, and we have 1 team from football team who visited Malaysia. So I'm very happy that we have already brought in 6 teams come here during this 2-year period. We'll bring, and we hope to have a good cooperation, signing a good cooperation in football cooperation. We look forward that your team will come to Malaysia. There are other activities as well, but I do not want to spend time mentioning this. I'm sure that by having these relations will definitely enhance our people-to-people cooperation. We are doing it in small steps. I have several engagements with the media. That is one, and I have to engage with media to promote Malaysia and to encourage tourism cooperation. Is one field. For everybody's information, before the COVID, there were around 30,000 Malaysians who come here. So Croatia is very popular with Malaysians. And because of the size of the population, we are also happy that about 3,000 Croatians go to Malaysia. So 10%, 10%. But we are looking at the possibility of increasing this number. As I mentioned earlier, that in the past we have direct flights which facilitates the people-to-people travel. So we look in the future. There are a lot of possibilities there. One is this year we are looking at to look at how we can cooperate with Croatia on not only tourism, health, but we are looking at pharmacy. We're looking at maybe high tech. Croatia has a lot of potential in technology. I was reading in ICT. We have good cooperation with Infobip. We encourage. I read last week that gaming sector is Croatia have strengths in that. ICT, as I mentioned, pharmacy, shipbuilding, I'm sure. So we are looking into all these things, and then we look forward to work with Catholic University. You are also playing an important role in different fields. So I hope there is some kind of cooperation between university of both countries. With that, I'll maybe add, well, I do not know. I'm sure my experience is as interesting as the rest of you. I just want to mention during my something interesting. Although, for example, in my first posting in Cambodia, for example, it's 90%, almost 95%, and are Buddhist people, are Buddhist. But when I went there, a lot of the work, our Malaysian interest there is we engage with the local people because Malaysia is, like I said, is a predominantly majority Muslim country. So I'm not Muslim, but when I was there, I always have to go to the mosque because a lot of Malaysians go to Cambodia, although it's a majority Buddhist. But I have to go to the mosque to present, to bring our delegation to go to the mosque and meet with the local people who are minority in Cambodia are Buddhists. So this is maybe something different, but I took up that role and I enjoyed my duties and the role that I have during my time in Cambodia. Something's very unique, and Malaysia is a Muslim country, but I'm a Catholic, and a few of my colleagues, for example, in Budapest, is also Catholic. But we represent Malaysia, a predominant Muslim countries, and then like Croatia, all diplomats have to defend. Defend their country's interests. So that is, I think, is interesting. In Hanoi, not so much. Like Mr. John mentioned, we are a small trading nation. So we have to, in order to sell our commodities, rubber, palm oil, cocoa, we have to be friendly with all other countries. In order to do that, we have to be friendly with everybody. And we try to maintain it, and at the same time, we try to diversify our economy. We are lucky because Malaysia is not prone to a lot of natural disaster. We are not, there is not much earthquakes, fortunately. There's not much hurricane and so on and so forth. So we are lucky in a sense, and then we are blessed with petroleum products, which we can import and have good cooperation in oil and gas. And we diversify our economy in having our, in manufacturing, in industry, tourism, in health, and a lot of things. So I'm sure Croatia is also developing into a lot of areas with entrance into Schengen, and also with the adoption of Euro. And now you are looking to be an OECD country. So we wish Croatia all the best, and we want to be a partner and good friends with the Croatian people. And so all of you are our friends. We hope you will pass on the good word, and we invite you to come to Malaysia. Sometimes we not only don't only want to promote Malaysia, but sometimes we want to promote ASEAN as well, because our neighbors are our friends. So we want to create that win-win situation. We want you to come to Vietnam, come to Thailand, come to Brunei, come to Indonesia, and some other countries as well. So when you, because it's not near, it's very far. So if you have time and plan, we hope that you will visit some of our countries, especially Malaysia, to enjoy all the culture, the facilities that we have, the nature, the beautiful islands that we have, which is maybe slightly different because the weather is different, the culture is different. So with that, I end my short presentation. And so I don't know whether we have a session for Q&A, but because the time is limited, but yeah. So with that, I end my presentation. So thank you very much.
I would say just thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
The floor is open. So, what I wanted to say in the beginning, maybe we are not many here, but there are vice rectors, they are here, dean of the schools, the head of departments, so it's very interesting maybe for the future collaboration to see the ideas. I have myself maybe, let's say, two questions. You mentioned a little bit higher education. We had this meeting, but not all of these people were there. In your opinion, when you are talking about Malaysian higher education system, what would you say? What is the main, how to say, main characteristic of it? What we saw those are big universities, public universities, very good universities, also on Shanghai list and other lists. What would you say? What is the reason that you have such a good quality educational system? And what could you say? What is the specific of your educational system higher in schools? And second, you mentioned that was I was also positively struck by the fact that what I mentioned at the beginning, you were a delegation of 4 or 5, and all of you were from different religious groups and backgrounds, but you were really acting on behalf of Malaysia, and I saw immediately there is a good cooperation among you. There is and Malaysia is known in the world really for the peaceful life of the population, which is a good example, I think, for many countries, even for us in Europe. What would you say? What is the essence of this interreligious not only dialogue, but this peaceful life that you are living and witnessing also, I would say, to the world community in Malaysia. So that's something that I'm personally interested in. I'm sure that my colleagues would be also like to know.
Thank you, Excellency Rector. Yeah, the first one would be, the first visit was from our University of Science Malaysia. They are more focusing on science-related matters. But we want to bring other universities to look at what do you all need? What are your strengths? These universities, they want to ensure that there's a win-win situation, that Catholic University will benefit, or Libertas can benefit, or whether it's University Zagreb. What are your strengths, and what do you want for your younger, for your future generation? Are you focusing on interreligious subjects? Are you focusing on science? Are you focusing on ICT? Are you AI, for example? Where are your future generation heading? And then at the same time, we establish communication so that we can sit down and we can discuss what are the common subjects that we can agree upon. I mentioned just now football. Why football? Football, we can benefit. We can benefit from Croatia. We want to learn from you. Whether you can benefit from us by sending your young players to play in Asia, to play in Korea, not only Malaysia, but you can use Malaysia as a platform. Please don't discount us. We definitely can learn from Croatia, but Croatian can learn. Croatia should not confine yourself to Europe, because in the future, Asia is coming up. China, India is coming up, Korea. We are lucky in that part of the world, but we welcome you, because I think most of you, your companies, will look for business, and some companies are already in Singapore. I think Rimac was established an office in Singapore. So we, in the future, young men, young people, a few of you will go there and find your experience and come back to Croatia and develop Croatia. You cannot assume that Croatia is a small country, although less than 4 million, but in the future, you need people to contribute to your political, economic growth. Croatia will not go away. So what we are trying to do is to establish this friendship and sit down with all of you to find some areas that we can create a win-win situation. And thank you very much on the second part. We work hard. We cannot say that the harmony that we have to give equal treatment to different races and religion because the Malays, the Chinese, the Indians, we have different religion, interreligious. It is difficult in other societies. We are not saying that we don't work hard to maintain this unity, because there are a lot of issues when you have different races, different ideas, different religion, because from time to time people change. So we have to keep always have interreligious. This is one of the areas where we can look at how we can work together with the Catholic universities, with the Catholic Church, with the Muslim community, to make sure that political stability, I think the stability is very important. Without this, we cannot move to the next step, which is working on. We cannot focus on tourism. We cannot focus on investment. We cannot focus on economy if we are fighting and discussing about, if there is hatred, there is. So what I'm saying is, although Malaysia, we are lucky. We try our very best to maintain unity and to give equal opportunity for like myself. And I'm sure that Croatia in the future, United States, if there are countries who maintain, it's a struggle. It's not easy, you know. You don't read US having a lot of Muslim ambassadors. Croatia in the future, I'm sure, you can have, once everybody reach that level of tolerance, you can have one Muslim ambassador and so on and so forth. Like I said, we have to maintain and have dialogue with everybody, not only in our own country, but with our international partners like Croatia, like the EU, with African countries, with Arab countries. So I think, yeah, we can share with Croatia, something that we can share with Croatia. For example, Malaysia, because we are a Muslim country, for us, the rest of the non-Muslim, like me, Catholics, Chinese, we benefited because we have good relations with Arab countries, with African countries. Some of them are Muslim countries. When they come to Malaysia, when we promote tourism, we benefit. I'm sure Croatia, although things are expensive, but Croatia benefited by having people from Arab countries, because some of them have money to spend. Of course, you want your, because they can spend more when they come here and help you with your economy. Yeah. So I hope that answers your questions. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
As I understood from the lecture, you have much more private and public universities in Malaysia.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to know if you have information, what is the competition between public and
yeah.
private university? And for the multicultural country, how many foreign students study at universities in Malaysia? Because I think we are open to other countries. So do you still have some migration from your students abroad and foreigners coming to your country?
Okay, thank you for that quite challenging questions. I don't have the exact numbers, but of course I can Google it or any. But from what I understand is common in similar to Croatia. When you talk about public university, all students, when you talk about public university, either it's free or it's subsidized by the government. So in Malaysia, it's quite similar. But in Malaysia, only 1 or 2 national public university, you pay a very minimum amount, and in Croatia, it's practically it's free. Private, of course, you have to pay. The numbers, of course, but despite the large numbers of universities in Malaysia, we realized, I think, 10 or 15 years ago, we must ensure the quality. So the government established this Malaysian Quality Association to make sure that these universities, the lecturers meet minimum standards, international standards. And then on top of that, we established a special ministry. We have 2 ministries, one Ministry of Education and one Ministry of Higher Education, just to make sure that we want to be an international hub. Because previously, 40, even 50 years ago, Malaysia used to send students to Australia, to United Kingdom, to other countries, and this cost is unsustainable. Europe you are maybe more sustainable now, but the cost of education is not cheap, because studying in US maybe 20 or 30 years ago it was, but now it's too much. We can't. The government cannot spend that much. Even private individuals find it difficult to spend money So we are looking to try to make Malaysia as an affordable hub by encouraging these universities. Most of them, at least half of them, are not international university. Nottingham, they establish their universities in Malaysia. And we encourage, because of the cost of living in Malaysia is cheaper, so we try to make Malaysia as an international hub. And of course, yeah, like I said, I hope I answered some of your questions, that it is not easy because of the this private and public, yeah. Yes.
Hello, Your Excellency. My name is Monica. I'm from the Department of Psychology, and I must say I'm really thankful for a very nice presentation. I got to visit Malaysia.
You're most welcome.
No, I have actually two questions for you. You mentioned that Malaysia is a multi-religious country, so I'm interested in, do you have the impression that the religion is really intervened into public life? Do people really practice religion, or is it more a cultural thing? You know, because we have this discussion in Croatia, so how many people are really practicing Catholics or Muslims or whatever. And the second thing that I was interested in is what would you say are perhaps one or two main factors that contributed to your swift development? Perhaps in the factors, I mean, like economy or your form of government or something else which you could pinpoint as important for your development and for your swift growth. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, yeah, in a sense, your first question, in a sense that religion in most part of Asia is becoming intertwined in the daily life of people, because I think now we are more exposed to the internet, to the social media. So people, you can get stories almost immediately. And some of the stories have a lot of negative, a lot of things that more people are aware. The more accidents, more things that worry people a lot. So people are now becoming more, they want to find some security. So some of them look into religion. So this is quite prevalent, at least from my part of the in Asia. I think it's becoming also true in other parts of the world. People, yeah, you can just open up any social media, whether it's Facebook, TikTok, whatever. You can see something that you think you learn more things. You are exposed to more truths, maybe, or non-truths. Fake news, maybe, and then when you read and you see, whether you read or you see, usually it's so you are more conscious on you make your own decisions what is good for you, and people would a lot of people are falling into religion. Maybe it's not even religion; it could be a faith, it could be some thoughts. So that they feel more secure because of these insecurities that in the environment that we are living in. Your second question was on
development and growth.
Yeah, I think one we had because we were under the British. So I think the British we learned after our independence to create our own system, and we, as Mr. Johan has mentioned, we integrated into the international community quite fast, and then we follow international practice. We are a trading country, so we meet a lot of multi-stakeholders. With the international community, we involve ourselves with a lot of not only investment, economic, sport, and so on and so forth. We adopt more or less international practices. What Croatia is doing, what you are doing is you are following EU standards. I'm sure there is a lot of resistance when you change from kuna to euro. That is one example. But once you are accustomed to it, when you join EU, decide to join EU, you have to, you more or less have to follow the laws of EU, which is proposed by other EU member states. But as you acclimatize yourself, you will be able to, this standardized will, in a way, some of them, not all of them are positive, some of them may be not so positive. But when you have these standards, Croatia, like Malaysia, we have ASEAN, that's standards. We have the United Nations, some of the recommendations, the resolutions proposed by United Nations. By joining World Bank meetings, by joining the IMF meetings, what Croatia is doing, you are heading on the right path. Although they are not, all of them are, but I'm sure that you are heading, we are all heading at the right path. Because there are a lot of other countries, almost half of the countries are still, we consider least developed countries. Some like in Laos, there are a lot of countries that are facing conflicts that are less fortunate than us. So what we have now, well, there is peace. We want to establish this this connection between Malaysia and Croatia. So we must be, what you said, be grateful for whatever peace that we have, because a lot of countries do not have the privilege of even discussing about a lot of countries are facing a lot of challenges. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, yeah, please. Yeah.
If I just add
yeah.
a bit
yeah, please, please.
To the point, I just want to just add a little. I guess one thing about Malaysia is that the cultural mindset of the Malaysian people in general, we have very good adaptability.
Yeah.
So from before, our leaders from before, they realized the importance of being able to adapt to fast changing environment. So they introduce a lot of good policies. So this cut across all sectors, including education and all that. So Malaysia over the years, whenever there are new things that coming up, new challenges, issues, good or bad, the government or the other players, the academic institution, they are very easy to adapt to introducing something new and to see the result. And so far the results have been positive.
Yeah.
Some countries, there may be a lot of resistance to change, especially if it's not in line with their values. But Malaysia generally, we are very fast in adapting and accommodating new things. That's, I think, one of the reasons why we can follow the case of the...
Yeah. One good example is the Look East policy, because I think 20 years ago, because from time to time government said, okay, we must also sometimes emulate the work culture of Japanese. Look East policy also look at the work culture of the Koreans, the Japanese. So during that period, it was very popular. We tried to instill, make sure that people who work with the government and ordinary people in Malaysia, to make sure that they respect time, because if you don't respect time, you can come late, you know. So this is some of the values. We want to make sure that sometimes we do not waste time when go having coffees, spend time. But from time to time, that is one example. But from time to time also, we, like Mr. Johan said, we try to be flexible, because we try to find we don't want people to work like robots as well. We want people also to enjoy the quality, some quality of life. This is what we also learned from the EU, so from Scandinavia. So we try to balance balance it. So we try to be flexible on that. But thank you for your questions. So you know?
I just wanted to say, just briefly, during this visit of this vice rector, she said that Malaysia is really also good on this administrative level. Also, but bureaucracy is not so big. She said she was living in the European Union and Canada, and she said what we need in Malaysia, one day I saw that even in Europe and Canada they need 1 month. Actually no, because of all these kind of procedures and everything, so that she said we are not so, we have really efficient administration. That was her opinion. We have really efficient administration, what you said, which is doing. That was for me.
Thank you.
She said, because I said, for our collaboration, if we need, that means in Malaysia 1 day, in Canada 1 month, in Croatia 1 year. that's something like that. So that's it.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's the last question.
Yeah, last question.
Last two short.
Yeah.
So, last two question. I see that you were in different countries, and can you just stress one good side of Croatian country, etc.? That's the first question. Second, before 20-30 years ago, so you did a great job in scientific research, correlated with 30 years ago. That is something that we conclude.
Yeah.
So now, if you're familiar with the main challenges for great universities in your country, what are the main challenge or obstacles?
Yeah. Well, okay, first question. I think, I'm just basically, I would say I'm very lucky to be here. I was here in 2006. So after, when I was sent here 2 years ago, anybody who comes here, speaking to my colleagues from the diplomatic, they enjoy it. It's like a dream come true to come back to a country that you have beautiful country, friendly people, and it's safe. What more can you ask? Okay. So the second part is, of course, we all know that challenges, sometimes we cannot think about ourselves. When I mention future generation, we try to be aware that we are thinking about your family, your son, your grandchildren, because they are the ones that is going to need. But what we are reading now, the challenges, future challenges, especially when it comes to AI, you have to we cannot be left behind, because if Croatia and Malaysia, we don't sit down together, we will be left behind, because countries like China, America, big multinational countries, Google, they are the ones who determine the technologies. What is happening now is happening already. We are the end users. We use this technology. When we use their technology, we have to pay for them. So Croatia, we are not big countries. Malaysia, we are not a big country. Unless you are a rich country, you can pay and use this technology. So unless the universities, we play our role and look at how we can. We cannot, definitely we cannot beat them, but we must at least join them, or we must ensure that we are not always paying for all these things. Next time, you want to use anything, you have to pay for it. Maybe we are not here, but our children, our grandchildren will be left behind. And is this what we want for them? These are the challenges. The challenges, I think. For us, we don't have to worry. Actually, we are not here anymore in 10, 20 years. But what is interesting, what we can share, is to think about the future generation. That I hope answer your question, sir.
So we are not so strict on time like
Thank you. So that is very interesting.
It's a little bit Mediterranean way of thinking Croatia itself. In any case, Mr. Ambassador, thank you very much. Thank you for your time. I know that your time is precious. Also for this, let's say it's going to be on YouTube, but small audience, but really good audience. And thank you, and John, for giving us this first inside look into Malaysia for us. because for me also these 2-3 months are first time that I really realized, I know that Malaysia is there, I know it's an Asian country, but they didn't know many things about it. So now I learned a lot of it.
So meaning there's a lot of more work that we need to do. So
these are small steps, small seeds, but I'm happy about that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have like small.
We have some small gifts that we prepare.
A lot of gifts for us.
So those who are here, please.
So thank you very much. This is a small.
Oh, thank you, thank you,
Thank you very much.
thank you.